believe most of you are we believe most of you are CFOs that are excited to work with small and medium enterprises. Our desire for this program, you kindly mute yourself if you're not talking. Our desire for this program is to reach out 150 small and medium enterprises. For those that have interacted with directly, I've mentioned that to you. And so we're looking for CFOs who are you and others that maybe are not yet logged in here to have intervention, to offer our services, our expertise to these small and medium enterprises, to see them grow, not just to be more profitable, but even to be more sustainable. So this program is run by Imuka Access and University of Chicago Booth School of Business School, who is represented here by Olivia. Is going to tell us more details about the program. And once at the end of the program, we believe that you'll be interested and excited and sign up as many as are able to sign up for this program. It is for those who are concerned, it's not going to take full time of your job. It is a part-time, how do you call it? Part-time intervention. So you can be able to have, you call it a flexi program. So you can be able to work within your already existing consultancies, already existing engagements. I'm seeing Olivia is on. Over to you, Olivia.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Lillian, for that great introduction. Welcome. Let me just share my screen, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the program and who I am and everything involved in participating as an expert financial consultant. Okay, so I hope everyone can see my screen. So welcome everyone, and thank you very much for your time today. My name is Olivia Xiong. I'm a research manager visiting Kampala from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. And I'm here to talk a little bit more about the accounting and financial management program that Roy and Lillian briefly introduced. So today we'll talk about, I'll give an overview of the project. I'll talk a little bit more about the team, who we are at University of Chicago Booth School of Business, and also our project partners that are involved. And then I'll talk about the syllabus and training contents that we hope to teach firms, some of the qualifications that we would like for our financial experts that will be participating and helping us carrying out the project over the summer to have. And then lastly, talk a little bit about the application process and as well as answer any questions that you may have about the project or who we are, or anything like that. So first, what is our project about? Our program aims to support about 150 medium-sized high-growth firms with at least 6 full-time employees in Kampala. And to do that, we provide dedicated and personalized in-person consulting on accounting and financial management practices. And we specifically target firms in the Kampala area, in services, manufacturing, and trade sectors. And for each firm, we would like to plug in a financial expert to teach one, introduce digital accounting software, specifically QuickBooks, 2, teach effective costing and budgeting methods, and then also adopt financial reporting best practices. So our vision is that each financial expert will cover approximately 6 firms over the summer, 1 week per firm. And this can be spaced out also according to the firm's flexibility, your flexibility. So we're flexible, but we're looking at the 3 months starting June over the summer. And then each CFO will spend approximately 5 days on site with the firm's financial manager. Sometimes it could be the owner and financial manager. It depends on the firm, to consult on these specific topics that we've selected. So as Lillian mentioned, our ultimate goal is to improve access to finance for these firms and also their productivity and growth. And we expect that, we hope that improved financial and accounting practices, firms will be able to benefit through several other channels. So first, we envision that improved practices will lead to better data-driven managerial decision-making, with real-time financial data and a means to always really understand how the firm is performing at a given time, which products or services in particular are profitable for the firm versus those that are maybe slightly less profitable, how to gauge profitability, and most importantly, how to take very timely business decisions to be able to effectively steer their business and stay relevant. So who are we? Well, we are, as I mentioned, I'm Olivia. I'm the project research manager. I think you all know Roy and Lillian. But in Chicago, I work for Professors Thomas Rauter and Emanuele Colinelli. They're really the, I guess, co-directors of the project. And there are many other essential partners that we have here in Uganda, including DFCU Bank, the East Africa Venture Capital Association, IGC Uganda team, Uganda Investment Authority team, EGRAC, and among others. I've worked with the two professors for approximately 3 years and on the project personally since we started last summer. And so please feel free to reach out if you have any other questions. So we're from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. It's the second oldest business school in the United States and was founded in 1898. We proudly have had 10 faculty members at the university that have won the Nobel Prize Award, including Douglas Diamond, most recently, that won the 2022 Nobel Prize Award on his work on banking and financial crises. Other notable alumni from our school include Joseph Mansueto, who was part of the MBA program. He's the founder and executive chairman of Morningstar. And then also Satya Nadella, who is also part of the MBA program at Booth, who's the third and current CEO of Microsoft. So that's a little bit about. Back to the training contents. So as I mentioned, the training will take place over 5 days. We've consolidated the training content slightly to provide an overview of what we hope to teach over the 5 days. So what you see on the screen is just a basic run through of what we hope to teach. So on the first day, we plan to install QuickBooks on firms' IT systems and also migrate their current ending balances over to QuickBooks. We'll then discuss briefly about the key financial statements, which is the balance sheet, income statement, and the cash flow statement, and then provide an overview on cash versus accrual accounting. Then on the second to fourth days, so this is 3 days, this is what makes up the bulk of our focus. So we specifically teach the basics of costing, specifically including computing unit costs for product pricing, categorizing costs, conducting cost analyses, and using the insights from cost analyses for then taking certain business decisions, such as budgeting and monitoring. And this also ties into one of the key, I guess, benefits that we hope will result from our project, namely improved data-driven decision-making for the firm. And our plan is in the mornings to teach the kind of conceptual bases of these topics that we'll cover. And then in the afternoons, we teach the firms the more practical side of these concepts. So how does this apply when using QuickBooks. So how to do everything that we cover in terms of costing and budgeting in using the QuickBooks software. The 5th is the final day, and we hope to demonstrate how to create financial reports for improved access to funding. So specifically, we've consulted our project partners, capital providers at DFCU Bank and East Africa Venture Capital Association on these contents to ensure that our trainings are applicable to the needs of the capital providers and specifically to the region. And finally, we speak briefly on non-financial reporting for also improved access to finance. This includes data on, for instance, their environmental or social impact or ownership information that investors or loan officers may take interest in. So this is a more detailed breakdown of our training syllabus. And you can see that on the first day, we have adopting QuickBooks, the 2nd to 4th day, focusing on costs and profitability, and the 5th and final day, how all these concepts feed into their financial statements and also improved access to finance. So the contents that we currently have on the screen right now, we would love also to hear your feedback on in your experience, as you are all financial experts, whether you think this is applicable as well. If you perhaps have any comments or criticisms, we'd love to hear your thoughts. And we think, would be a great way to improve the program and make it more applicable to the businesses here in Kampala. So any comments or feedback at all, please feel free to email me or reach out to Roy and Lillian, and I'll leave my contact information at the end of the presentation. So who are we looking for? So we're looking for local Kampala-based financial experts to implement our training contents that I just talked briefly about, and provide dedicated hands-on training in person at the offices of these businesses that have signed up, and that are all based in the Kampala greater region. So given the content of our training syllabus that I talked about briefly, we're specifically looking for individuals that, have demonstrated high commitment to providing outstanding financial management services. Those that have worked with the specific firms we're looking at, or similar size or similar industry, is a huge plus for us. Of course, positive attitude, effective time management. I think that these are all qualifications that I think everyone here has, but we felt it was good to note down. The last qualification that is important to our team is prior experience with QuickBooks. Ideally, it's strongly preferred. Lillian is our lead trainer and resident QuickBooks expert, and so she tells me, if you've had certain previous experience with QuickBooks, it'll just make it easier, but it's not a very difficult software to learn if you haven't had prior experience. But if you have any specific questions or concerns about using QuickBooks, please feel free to reach out to Lillian and ask. And then finally, the third main qualification would someone mind muting if you're not, if you have any questions later on, please feel free to raise them and the presentation will almost be over. But really importantly for us is availability. So as I mentioned, our timeline, we hope to communicate decisions on, also knowing how big our team is, who's available when, in May, which is when we'll hold a more formal training session for 5 days. The professors Thomas Rauter and Emanuele Colonelli are both going to be in Kampala, and they will lead the training sessions in May. And then also over the summer, as I mentioned, that's our current anticipated timeline of when we would like to be able to go into these businesses that have signed up and provide the actual consulting treatment. And so over the summer, it would be important for us to have at least 6 weeks, as each CFO we'd like to assign 6 firms to at least available. And of course, I know schedules change and we are flexible. The only thing we ask is that if you are able to communicate what your anticipated availability will be for the summer, that would be very helpful for us. So this all kind of feeds into what application we have. So the application process, it's more just also understanding fit between your past experience with this particular project and these particular businesses that we're looking at, and also our fit with your availability, your past experience, if you're interested in supporting the firms that we're looking at as well. So we have a brief online application form on Qualtrics. This is the QR code, and I'll also go back to this slide and keep it up on the screen during any questions. And then this is the URL if you would like to take a picture or a screenshot or something like this. But basically we ask some questions about, your experience with QuickBooks, what your anticipated availability is, and this will also help us in matching firms that are most suitable to you, or if you have any specific preferences on which firms that you would like to work with, this is how you would let us know as well. Then there's a 30-minute in-person one-to-one that we'd like to have, also just to, hear your thoughts more in detail on some of the training contents that we have. And also, if you have any comments about the program in general, that would be the time to do so. And I'm only here until next Wednesday. And so I think Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, there will be some limited slots, but I'm also happy to chat on Zoom once I'm back to Chicago end of next week. And I'm always happy to answer any emails that if you would like to communicate that way as well. Third would be the training session. I mentioned this briefly, that Professor Thomas Rauter and then Emanuele Colinelli as well, and Lillian will be hosting the 1-week-long training session in May. And using the application form, we've listed 2 weeks that we would like for you to kind of check if you are available or if you can make the training session, and that way we can also know which dates is most suitable for everyone. And then last thing is that we might have a brief assessment just to make sure that of course, we know that you through your own professions have, know all these concepts and everything, but we just want to make sure we're aligned on what contents we would like to teach each firm, because we would like to teach all firms the same contents. So we'd like to make sure that, one firm gets the same syllabus and same understanding as another firm. This is just an overview on what the online application looks like. That was in the previous slide here. So you can see it talks just briefly about contact information, your experience with QuickBooks or working with different types of firms. Again, this just helps us match based on your experience and also your preferences, which firms we would likely assign. And yeah, that's it. And so this is my email. I think everyone should also have Roy's email as well. And yeah, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or comments. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, does anyone have, I'm gonna stop sharing, or maybe give everyone just a couple minutes to take a picture of the QR code or copy down the URL.
I have actually
But if
shared
anyone
it on the
has,
chat. I have actually shared it on the
okay,
chat so that
perfect.
you can copy or click on the link for any expert who is interested in participating. Maybe Olivia, I've seen one question coming through. Will the training be remote or physical? Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. So we would like the training to be in person because we feel like it's much easier and much more effective in terms of, you know, being able to answer quick questions. That way everyone can be on the same page. That said, we understand that, you know, everyone's schedules are different. And so we would like to see, you know, who's available for what time, and then decide if we should also provide a remote option or what's best. But
All right. Thank you, Olivia. There is a hand, Norbert Tuliamhaki. Please go ahead and mute, and maybe you can ask your questions.
Thank you so much. I want to thank the team. My name is Norbert Tuliamhachi, and I work with the Japaico Corporation, the CFO, and I'm glad to be here on this platform. So I wanted to suggest something to add on the content, something around taxation provisions in Uganda, because this is what most of the businesses, on top of what you have listed, struggle with to comply with, especially with regulations of filing with the Uganda Revenue Authority. Over to you. I am glad and excited to be here.
All right, thank you. Yes, there's another question. Is there a question? Somebody's asking, what is next after application? That is Alan Hamanya asking, what is next after application? Olivia?
yeah, so after the online application, we would then either have a one-on-one or speak in person or over Zoom. And then depending on interest as well, as we would like to have about a team of 20 or 25, given that we are hoping to support 150 over the summer. There would then be a selection based on also availability. And then in May would be the training session for those that have been selected. And then after that, there'd be a brief assessment and to ensure that everyone's aligned just on what we would like to teach the firms and make sure that the contents are all the same across firms. And then in the summer is when the actual consulting with one-on-one with business to financial consultant would take place.
Okay, there's a question, will the training take full day?
I think that will have to be communicated. I think, do you mean, I think, is this Ruth? Could you clarify if you mean the training for in May or the training between the financial consultants and the business?
Ruth, are you there to clarify on the question?
The training in May. At this time, we think it'll take 5 days, which is the same length of the one-on-one with the financial consultant and the business in the summer, but it will not be the full day. In the summer, I know it'll take 6 hours per day, approximately. That's at least what we would like. So a total of 30 hours per firm. And then we anticipate the training in May will be shorter than that, but we will try to, also gauge availability if we might have to shorten the number of days from 5 to 3 and then have longer days or something like this. But please, if you have feedback on what's feasible in the online application form or via email, please let me know.
All right, thank you. Hanifa asks OL, just speaks on her behalf that she'll be out of the country in May, but would love to be part of, if there is an online option. That is a recommendation. Hanifa, we shall evaluate that request internally and see if it will be manageable. Then let me see. Herman Karugava asks, what kind of businesses are to be trained? This is because most small ones don't keep proper records on a computer. Is it possible to discuss the remuneration now or during the one-on-one? This may determine the level of interest between competing assignments for some people.
So on the businesses, I mentioned it briefly in the beginning, but our focus is high growth, medium-sized firms in Kampala. We originally were looking at firms with 10 full-time employees or more. But we've kind of loosened our requirement on employee size down to about 6 full-time employees. We know that, a lot of small firms do not keep proper records or, use QuickBooks, which is why hopefully with this program, we can implement QuickBooks and help them and help digitize their accounting and financial practices. So we think that it will have probably the most impact with these smaller firms. That said, we think that also means that when we transfer their ending balances to QuickBooks, some of them have very different statuses of their financial books. And so I think that is something that we'll have much more clarity on in the coming month when we're, finalized with conducting the needs assessment for all potential participating businesses. And then on the second question, if it's possible to discuss the remuneration now. So the exact number has yet to be fully confirmed, but what we would like it also depends on what your availability is. We would like each CFO to support 6 firms. If you're available to support more, then of course you would be compensated accordingly. But the training session in May will be free, and the actual consulting where you consult for 6 firms, so 30 hours per firm, we're thinking about $5,000 US. And of course, the key benefit that we see is that you are then able to engage these firms after the program and potentially become their ongoing financial consultant, and then any additional kind of consulting that you may want to provide would be determined and discussed between you and the firm. On the next question, whether or not you qualify, I think it really depends. If you have supported firms before and in similar contexts, I think that's a huge plus for us. I think we also have to see what's our capacity and see how many people are interested, and then we will discuss.
Okay. Thank you, Olivia. I don't know if there are other questions. I think you've responded. Maybe one thing I would request, if there are, please keep the questions coming as the questions.
Roy, Alan Amman has been having the hand up.
Oh, I thought there was a question. Yes. Okay, please, Alan, go ahead.
No. Okay. Thank you, Roy. Mine is really to get an understanding why, because when I look at your project goal, it's basically aimed at improving access to finance, productivity, and growth of SME firms. But then when I look at your content, it seems designed around QuickBooks, because everything seems to be designed around QuickBooks. One, I would like to get an understanding of why you've chosen to use QuickBooks, because remember, some of these firms that you're trying to support, some of them might be having their own systems. So introducing a new system, it may be taken on or it may not. So I had thought that we would design a course designed around improving achieving the goal, but without necessarily tagging it to a certain application. Then two, I see in the criteria you say you're going to choose companies based on the number of employees as a criteria. But then I think the most appropriate to me, this is what I think, is that turnover could be a better guide rather than employees, because I could have 10 employees, but you find I actually have my turnover is like $500. But however, if you go by the criteria of turnover, you're able to see the high growth SMEs so that you're able to target the right company. Then three, I wanted to find out, can you consult as a firm or as an individual? Because I see can I come in, instead of coming as an individual, I come as a firm, but then the rate may not change, but I would prefer to consult as a firm, even as some of us, we do that kind of work. Thank you.
Sure. So on your first point about why we specifically are targeting financial and accounting practices through QuickBooks and how that ties into improved access to finance, hopefully growth and productivity. We know that there are a lot of factors that go into whether or not a firm is successful in terms of obtaining funding, is able to operate very efficiently compared to its competitors. So I think coming from an accounting and finance-based team, Professor Thomas Rattern is accounting professor, Professor Emanuele Colinelli is a finance professor. These are really the key processes that we are interested in measuring. And we do not know, I guess, to which degree our consulting program will improve access to finance, growth, productivity. That is exactly what we are hoping to measure and hoping to observe. So this is our kind of research hypothesis. And so that is specifically why we're looking at these practices. And then why we're looking at QuickBooks and introducing digital accounting software is because many firms that we've spoken to record their financial transactions on Excel or using physical ledger books, specifically looking at the smaller firms that the smaller but high growth firms that we're looking at. And so we want to understand, by taking the step to digitize their accounting and financial practices, we believe that this will lead to, most importantly, real-time data for these firms that'll then help their management team be able to evaluate, okay, what state is their firm currently in? We've spoken to different business managers at different firms, and they say sometimes they don't know exactly how well their firm is performing. They don't know, aside from pricing their products based on their competitors' prices, what's truly the most profitable product line. And they can only truly know this with we think, digitizing and having real-time data on these metrics. So this is what we hope to look at. And then also tying into, improved, hopefully, access to finance is that when investors are evaluating, capital providers are evaluating which firms to provide funding to, they all have very different criteria. So sometimes for microfinance loans, their standards are just to look at their bank statements. If it's a very small firm, as you mentioned, turnover, so they often look at, how is that firm performing aside from, without having their QuickBooks or their accounting processes digitalized. But we're also looking at just broadly what, I guess, the access to finance, what improved access to finance would look like for many different types of capital providers. So we think that one of the key things that these investors look at is their financials. And so having, QuickBooks that they could easily produce generate their financial statements, generate their tax reports, their VAT reports in a timely fashion. It's very efficient. It's very organized. They can easily identify potential data errors. It's going to be very key. But again, this is all something that we hope to see. And if we knew that, this would improve it by X amount, then we hope that, other, I guess, institutions like investment authorities would be able to understand that this is very important and requires more attention, I suppose. And then your second question, could you remind me what the second question was?
But maybe if I can clarify, one is when I look at your goal of improving access to finance, productivity, and growth of SME firms, I thought some of the parameters that you'd use in this case, like I earlier said, would look at turnover, because by taking employees as a criteria, I think we are more measuring the aspect of job creation. But then if you're looking at growth, access to finance, the banks, for example, assuming you're accessing finance, they would be more interested in your turnover rather than the number of employees that you have. So I don't know if there is a chance to vary in terms of the training syllabus, so that we're able to tailor it, because at least being within the Ugandan economy, we have an understanding of some of the aspects that are affecting the local businesses. And I think digitization, yes, it might be one of the problems because of recording accounting record, but then there are much more, like what earlier the colleague said in terms of taxation, the issues of taxation, and I think those ones need to come out very clear. So I don't know if there's a chance to vary the terms of content so that you're able to actually deliver value to these businesses that you'd be targeting. Thank you.
Yeah, I think to your point on looking at turnover, we understand that there's many different ways to classify firms. I think, as you mentioned, in Uganda, you usually look at turnover. We conduct a needs assessment for every firm that that I guess fit this initial criteria of meeting the employment requirements, and then generally the sector requirements. But we also then conduct like an hour and a half long needs assessment to really measure what practices they have, get a better sense of their costs, their current revenues, what they currently are doing in terms of financial and accounting practices. And through this, we'll have a better understanding of what exactly the profile of these firms beyond just looking at employment and sectors will be. And from there, we hope to, even further tailor our training contents. We do want to not provide too personalized, I guess, overly personalized consulting, because we want to understand the basics of the core of our training program is to understand whether the contents that we have can be helpful across many different types of firms, as opposed to providing more, I guess, extremely targeted training.
All right, thank you, Olivia. I'm going to ask Lillian to come on the question from Tamale Sylvia. Will they be able to use other accounting packages like Tally, which I also find appropriate for a company that has vast stock? Won't QuickBooks be a bit limited? Kindly elaborate. Lillian, before you answer, there was a question from, I think, Chandiru Teddy. Have you vetted the SMEs that are interested in the program? When they apply, as Olivia mentioned, there is about 1 hour on-site one-on-one needs assessment that is done. And it's not done by Nita directly, but by a partner of the program, that is IGREC. And that is already ongoing. We've already done that for over 280. The last time I checked, it was close to 300 firms. So yeah, that is already ongoing. And you're not selling products, there is no product you're selling. The information about this program and what they're offering is what we've shared with the entrepreneurs, and those ones who are interested have applied. And when we do the needs assessment, we also clarify. Okay, Lillian, please come on.
Okay, thank you, Roy. So to answer the question about QuickBooks, if the company already has an accounting software, you don't have to change them from the accounting software they have to QuickBooks. So QuickBooks is an option for those who don't have any system at all, okay? Or if QuickBooks is better than whatever they have. So if what they have is meeting their needs, by all means, don't change them to QuickBooks. As experts, we're offering more than, we're offering our financial expertise. We're not just going to install an accounting software. So which means when you go to this particular organization, you find what their pain points are, so to speak, and using your expertise, you support them. So even if they're using Tally as you're suggesting, are they using it maximally efficiently? Is it meeting their needs? Are they able to generate reports on time when they need to generate the reports on time? Now, for those who do not have an accounting software, then we use QuickBooks, and QuickBooks also has a stock management system that is good enough for depending on the nature of the company that you're making intervention for. So you're not replacing companies' accounting software, but you're offering an accounting software for the companies that do not have any accounting software. One of the challenges to access to finance, at least for some of the businesses that I've approached, the bank asks you for your financial statements. And then people are fumbling around to get their financial statements. Why? Because they don't have their data in a place that they can easily generate a financial statement report. They're asking for your projections. You're asking for this loan. Can you give us a projection of how you're going to spend this money or cash flow projections? They do not have data that they can use to extrapolate for a cash flow projection. So we're just saying, even if we give you good practice financial statement, good practice accounting and financial practice, but you don't give you a tool that can keep you going, we may not be doing justice. So the program is just making a contribution. For those who don't have any accounting software, we're giving them an accounting software, which is QuickBooks, to get them started. Those who are too big for QuickBooks, they'll continue using the system that they're already using. But as experts, we're offering our expertise, whatever the accounting software their company is using. But in the event that you find many that do not have any accounting software, we're giving them QuickBooks as an option. I hope that clarifies that.
Maybe just further to what Lillian has mentioned, you will find some organizations you will still find as experts are already systemized or digitized in terms of accounting tools, but utilizing appropriately in terms of some of the deliverables that we've established from investors and financiers as far as what they always need from entrepreneurs or enterprises. Most of them you may find they're not making the data-driven decisions. Maybe the founders do not know much. Yes, they have the reports, but they really don't understand much about it. So it's not just about the system and the tools, but also clarity, especially for the key decision makers in terms of utilizing and getting the right deliverables to help the growth and the trajectory of the companies, but also to help them access opportunities as they come. Thank you. Sorry, I don't know if there are other questions that we've not seen. Which version? Lillian, do you want to come in on that? Which version of QuickBooks?
The one we are offering the firms is QuickBooks Pro 2019 UK version.
And to specify, it is desktop for purposes of ensuring that even if they don't want to subscribe, they can still keep having it in the going years. What we want to avoid is where we introduce an opportunity, a solution, and due to subscription or other circumstances, they basically deviate because they don't want to. Yeah, so that is one of the reasons why we are going for that. Okay, any other question, please? Well, if there are no questions, please, I'm also going to share a link here.
Someone is asking in the chat, how are you selecting the firms?
Monica, thank you. So we are selecting the firms when they sorry, I thought I was going to share a link. I'm going to share a link for any of you who have firms that you feel would benefit from this program or opportunity. We would love them to get this information. Obviously, we've reached out, we've received applications, and we are still receiving applications till 16th of April. So we would love that we can receive more firms who are interested in this opportunity. I'm just going to share the link here shortly, so that in case you have any firm, for SME interested, I'm just sharing here a link. Feel free to share within your network. Some of them could be your clients, but you are obviously not offering fully because they're not willing to pay for your expertise and your time. This would be a good opportunity for them to leverage for your expertise and service. So yeah, that is the link. Monica, for firms that are interested to participate, I think the link for experts I already shared in an earlier chat. Yeah, so once they submit, we are able to select the first priority, obviously the number of employees, which we validate still on site, and we also do further needs assessment to ensure that they qualify in the program. As it has been shared earlier, we target to support at least 150 firms. So the space is still, we're still open for more firms or companies within the Greater Kampala Metropolitan who fit within the target requirements. Caroline, and have they already been selected? For example, do you have a pool of firms selected? We have a pool of firms who have expressed interest, and we are already doing one-on-one visits to do needs assessments to ensure that they qualify. So that is already ongoing, but as I've mentioned earlier, we're still open to receive more firms, more pool of firms that are interested, that could benefit from this program. I'm sure as experts, you serve quite a number of businesses, and yeah, that could really benefit from this opportunity. We are really open to receive their interest and applications for them to benefit from this opportunity. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other questions that may be out there? Maybe one more thing, because we already did a physical meet with experts that was on 23rd, and we received interest from experts. Out of a lot of demand from other experts, we decided to have this online. So we have a small window. If you can share, for those also interested to participate as consultants or experts in this program, we have a window in close of Thursday, because we need to allow Olivia to schedule one-on-one interactions with you. Obviously, to capture, I know some of you had suggestions of additional topics, additional areas, or maybe adjustments. We would love to capture that in one-on-ones. So please feel free, for those ones who are interested, please submit by close of Thursday so that we can reach out to you, have at least one-on-one interaction on the same, but also to gather your thoughts and ideas as we prepare so that we can capture this in our journey as we start supporting these entrepreneurs. I believe this is a great opportunity to leverage your expertise to firms, but also to create relationships to new firms or existing firms within the ecosystem. Thank you. All right. Well, I don't seem to see any hand or question, so I want to presume that all has been shared. I'm just going to allow maybe Olivia or Lillian, if you have any final remarks, but I will leave this Zoom on till 5 p.m. so that you can get either the link of experts, which has been shared, or link of SMEs, so that in case you need to share or whatever, you can still be able to capture. If there's any other request, I think our contacts were earlier shared. I'm still also going to share my contact here, just in case there are any further inquiries or recommendations. Thank you very much. Any final remarks, Olivia or Lillian, before we close this?
I don't really have any final comments on the project. I hope everything is clear, but if anyone has any feedback or comments or questions after the close of this meeting and would like to reach out and ask, I'll also leave my email in the chat, and feel free to copy it down and reach out if there's anything I can help clarify. And thank you everyone so much for your time this afternoon, this evening. And I hope that you're interested in the program, and I hope to speak to some of you one-on-one later on.
Right.
Okay. Thank you all for those who joined the short notice this afternoon. Thank you for making the time to join. But I hope you may make time to offer your expertise to these small and medium enterprises, whose growth, of course, will make all of us proud. But if you already have other consultancies, as Olivia said, it's a flexible program. So just when you're filling in the form, just say your flexibility, your availability, and we'll be glad to onboard you on the program. If you know other SMEs that many will not have afforded your consultancy fee because it's a bit expensive, this is an opportunity to bring them on board on a subsidized fee. Already, did you see how much the SMEs are paying to join the program?
Oh yeah, so no, to join is free.
Okay.
Applying for the program is free. Now, when the SME is selected to be supported by an expert, the costs of the expert are paid by the program, and part of the cost of the software is paid by the program. So the program is contributing the cost of, sorry, Monica, you may need to mute. So the program is paying the cost of the expert who is going to support the company, and part cost, 50% cost of the software. So this software is over $200. We are only asking the SMEs to contribute 100, which is part payment of the software. The rest is covered by the project, and also the support offered by the experts is covered by the project. This is just a way in which we ensure that the commitment of the SME is in. We don't want to invest, as you can see, you at least you've had the numbers. We don't want to invest a wholesome figure and you just find somebody jumping out of the program midway. We shall have wasted a lot of resources. So that is the small commitment required, but that is only upon selection and allocation of an expert to support them. I hope.
Thank you, Roy. Yeah, so all you consultants, CFOs, it's a chance for you to offer your expertise at a subsidized cost to the SMEs, but at a good fee to you as a consultant. But also, it's a good inroad for those who are trying to venture into consultancy. It's a good inroad for you to test the consultancy waters and see how it rides, and you might really enjoy it. Thank you very much and have a blessed evening.
All right, thank you. So we still have 4 minutes. I'm going to leave the chat on so that you can access any of the links. Other than that, I want to wish you a blessed evening. And yeah, we hope to connect and work with you in the coming days. Thank you very much. We shall also make the recording available on request for experts who will want maybe to follow up on this discussion. Thank you very much.